Hello and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video, and particularly a Christmas one. Yes, I know I am not wearing a Christmas jumper today or my lovely antlers on my head, but I am at least trying to stay true to the theme, so I'm wearing white to pretend that I'm a snowflake. Have you seen a big snowflake as this? I'm a massive one currently, but that doesn't matter. Today, what we're going to be doing in the Diary of a Greek Mum is we're going to be baking some traditional Greek Christmas desserts. So without further ado, let's get to the video. Starting with the very first dessert, which is a dry cookie. Can you call it a cookie? Maybe a biscuit. It's more like a little ball. And I think most of the people in this country, in the UK, would actually call it a snowball because it resembles one. In Greek, the name is kourampiedes and the plural is kourampiedes. And that's what we're going to be making right now. So first things first, that we're going to spread all of our almonds and put them in the oven to get them ready. After that, you need your mixer, you need your ghost butter to go straight in, the whole block, 250 grams, and you add the icing sugar. Now, I would definitely say don't do what I did. You can see that I'm making a mess. But you need to beat the butter and the sugar together up until you have a nice soft cream and the icing sugar has dissolved within the butter. In a separate bowl, you're going to mix your flour, your baking powder, and a few drops of that Madagascan vanilla. Make sure that the baking powder and the flour are mixed up together, and then as you can see, you already have that lovely cream, that buttercream that you've created. Add on all of the ingredients from that bowl. I would definitely recommend you not doing what I've just done here, because I've created a massive cloud of flour everywhere in the kitchen, and eventually you will see that although I tried to use the mixer, I took the bowl off and I went in with my hand, and there you go. I'm gonna start mixing the ingredients together up until the mix is nice and crumbly. If you've made shortbread before, you know what I'm talking about. It needs to be easy to mold and to hold its shape, but it still needs to be crumbly as well. By now, the almonds in the oven should be done, so what you need to do is take them out and make sure that you use a pestle and mortar or any other way to actually bring them into little pieces like I've shown you here. Add them into your mix, and then again use your hands to mix them all together so you have an even mix with almonds everywhere. Let me remind you as well that if you want to go and see the ingredients and the recipe written down, then you can find the link in the description down below. It will lead you to my blog, and then you'll find pictures of the end product as well as the ingredients and the recipe. I'm going to add some of that Kraken, the black spiced rum that you need. You only need a shot. I literally had one shot left in the bottle, but if you don't have spiced rum, then you can add either cognac or some dark vodka. And there we go, we're going to start shaping the little balls.
So tell me tonight, won't you come home? These are the days
What you need to do is to preheat your oven to 170 degrees, and after you're done shaping them all, then you put them in for about 30 minutes. Just make sure that they take a nice golden color before you pull them out. Again, similar to making shortbread, you don't want them to burn, but you don't want them to be too pale. The last thing we need to do after the snowballs are ready is to coat them with icing sugar, and that's the reason why I say that you need a lot more icing sugar than just the amount that will be needed for your buttercream. So there are many ways to actually coat them. You can either do what I'm doing here and add a lot of icing sugar in a bowl and just kind of play around with it up until it's nice and coated with the icing sugar before you pull the little snowball out. Or if you'd prefer a faster way to do it, then use a food bag. Just put some of the icing sugar in there and one by one add your snowballs, well, your little biscuits in there. Shake the bag after it's closed and they'll be coated. And while we're making the very first batch of kourampiedes, or of the snowballs, I'm going to start with the second recipe, the second traditional Greek Christmas dessert, which is called Melomakarona. The plural is Melomakarona. The main ingredient is semolina, and we're going to be kind of working in between the two. So let's go see what ingredients we'll need and let's get cracking. Starting with the syrup, and the first thing you need to do is add honey into a pot, then add your cinnamon stick and of course your sugar and your water. Now I am doing the syrup first. There is a difference between making it first and making it last. It's up to you what you prefer, but I prefer making it first because that way I can let the syrup cool down before I have to dip the desserts in. Oh yeah, you also have to add some orange peel, and I use an orange that I had already taken the juices out because you will need the juices for the dessert as well. You let the syrup there to simmer slowly and then you can put it on the side. And like I was saying, I like to do the syrup first and let it cool off, because that way when I have to dip my desserts in, I don't get scorching hot syrup splashing on me. But let's get started with actually making the dessert, and for that all you need to do is to put all of your ingredients besides the flour into a mixing bowl like I'm doing here. So you've seen that I've put the oil inside, I've put the semolina inside, and I'm going to add the sugar, I'm going to add the orange juice, I'm going to add everything else besides the flour, and I'm going to mix them up all together up until they create quite a runny mixture, because once you've added your orange juice then the mixture becomes quite runny, and then you need to start adding the flour bit by bit up until the point that your mix is now a nice dough that you can work with, that is not sticking on your hands, but it's also not too tight and impossible to work with. I do have to warn you here that while you're mixing, you'll notice a lot of the oil coming up and that your mixture is quite oily. That is absolutely normal. You don't have to worry about it, and you don't have to keep adding flour thinking that the oil will be completely absorbed. You will need that extra oil there in order to keep the biscuit after it's baked relatively soft still. You'll see me mixing everything in together, and now I'm going to actually start adding the flour. I have not provided you with a certain amount of flour that you need to add to the mixture because it depends on everyone's preference. But if you feel that no matter how much flour you've added, your dough is turning a little bit too tight, but you still feel that it's too oily, then what you need to do is add more semolina. And that's another hint: if the semolina that you have is not a coarse one but it's a fine powdery one, then you will have to increase the amount provided in the recipe by about an extra cup. Time to work the walnuts now, and the only thing you need to do is just use a pestle and mortar to break them into smaller pieces. Then you need to add your cinnamon and your icing sugar and mix them well. That's the mixture that you will need in order to stuff, in a way, the dessert. You will see me when I start rolling how I'm adding small portions of this mix into the actual dessert mix for the cookie. And let's start giving them shape. You can see I got a small quantity in my hand. I'm pushing a hole in the middle, and I'm going to fill that hole with a small portion of the mixture that we've just made with the walnuts, the icing sugar and the cinnamon. And then I'm going to pinch the dough together in order to secure the back is closed. Then I'm going to play a little bit with the whole thing in my hand to make sure that everything is safe and secure inside and that it's not going to open up. And I'll keep doing this up until the whole thing's filled. When you finish shaping all of the cookies, what you need to do is grab a fork and just put a few holes on the top of each and every one. That will help bake better and faster, and it would also give a distinct flavor to the inside. Fresh out of the oven and while still hot, you can see that I have the syrup still in the pot right next to me that has cooled off, and I am adding them inside the syrup straight away. You need the cookies to be hot and the syrup to be cold, or the other way around. You need to leave them in there for a good 2 to 3 minutes before you pull them out, and also allow them to stand for a few more minutes for the syrup to penetrate the whole biscuit before you get to serve them. And that's it, guys. These are the snowballs, ready, made and looking gorgeous, and believe me, they are so nice to eat. And here are the Melomakarona. They are soft and scrumptious and sweet, and so much flavour goes into them because of the cinnamon and the orange, and they are the epitome of Christmas for every Greek home. And that would be the end of the video. I really do hope that you enjoyed it, and I really do hope that you're going to give those desserts a try. Whether it's Christmas or not, they don't have to be, especially the snowballs, they don't have to be cooked only on Christmas. There is a tradition that sometimes they can be served during weddings, but you know, we mainly do bake them during Christmas in Greece. But do let me know if you are going to give them a try in the comments down below, and let me know if you like them. If this was the first video that brought you to this channel, then hello, and I hope you really enjoyed it. If you like what you saw and you would like to be part of this family that has been growing ever since this channel started, then there is a subscribe button down below for you to click and be part of our community. If you also click that little bell right next to it, then you will be notified again when I upload a new video. And up until that new video coming, I hope to see you again very, very soon. Toodles!
Well, I'm all for Christmas. All the happy smiles and the wishes, and I want it all, from the lights to the mistletoe.